to the Post-Purchase Pro podcast.
This is the only podcast that dives deep into post-purchase marketing to help Amazon sellers increase sales, ranking, reviews, and profits. It's everything that happens after the initial sale that makes a difference. We call this the back end.
All right.
Yes,
Today, Sean, we're talking about how to maximize your ROI when it comes to ads and video ads and all kinds of things when we're talking about driving traffic on Amazon using ads. And we have just the person to do so. We have Ritu from PPC Ninja. Ritu, welcome to the Post-Purchase Podcast. Welcome.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your headphones because today's guest is the sensei of Amazon PPC, the wizard of e-commerce, and the Yoda of digital advertising. I want you to say hello to our guest, Ritu, the CEO and co-founder of PPC Ninja, a platform so sharp it makes real ninjas jealous. Ritu's been carving up the e-commerce jungle since 2010, and she's here to drop some wisdom bombs. She leads a team that turns 6, 7, and 8-figure Amazon sellers into e-commerce legends. So if you've ever wondered how to navigate the gauntlet of Amazon advertising and data, Ritu's your ultimate guide. Buckle up. It's about to get educational and entertaining. Welcome, Ritu.
Thank you so much, Sean. That was amazing. I love that intro. It's so cool. Thank you so much.
So tell us, take us back to the beginning, Ritu. Tell me about PPC Ninja. Where were you at in your life and your business? Why did you create the company?
Yep. So PPC Ninja started out as a software company, and then we added in the services component. So we manage other people's ad budgets. And in between, we had like a phase where we were basically focusing on education. And this was basically to bridge the gap between, what a software can actually do versus what people know to do. And not everybody understands PPC well enough to even use a software to its maximum potential. So we started doing a lot of masterminds, and we still do them actually. We still have, these groups of sellers that come into the same Zoom call, and then we, discuss all about PPC. So we've got like 3 pillars. We've got the software, we've got the education, and we've got services. And we're actually layering a new service, which is to do with data. I'm really passionate about that because we're trying to combine PPC data with other streams of data, whether they're organic data or whether it is like keyword rank tracking data or any other kind of competitor tracking data and stuff like that, in a way that you can own your data. And so we're calling that data room. So that's basically where we're at with our company.
That's amazing. So Ritu, I was talking with a seller the other day, and it was exactly like what you're talking about. He, was managing his business in silos. It was like he manages his ads like this, and he's trying to keep track of his profit like this, and he's trying to keep track of, these other expenses, and all these pieces are kind of managed independently. But really, it needs to be a cohesive data set, or you don't even know how to manage your business, and you don't know if you're making profit on particular items. I mean, it's just kind of a crazy mess for a lot of sellers out there. So I know that we're going to talk a lot about driving more sales with, different types of ads and things like that. But can you walk us through really quick? What does the average seller need to be thinking about when it comes to managing their business by, maybe harnessing the power of putting that data together? What does that look like, Ritu?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you're absolutely right. Amazon gives us data. Actually, they give us a lot of data, and we don't have the problem of, less data. We actually have the problem of data overwhelm. Like everybody has access to, Seller Central, business reports. There's 35 types of Amazon reports that you can access. So what to focus on and how to combine those different data sources. So we're actually building out a framework which uses everyday software that everybody has access to, like Google, right? So we have access to Google Sheets, we have access to Google Looker Studio. For the most part, these things are free, right? And then you also have access to a Google Data Warehouse, which is called BigQuery. So BigQuery, and that's basically this new concept that we're really putting a lot of energy behind. We're conducting a lot of podcasts and webinars and trainings and things like that, so that we can educate people on this thing that's practically free, but it can actually merge different streams of data and bring them all together. Now, there's obviously a lot of softwares out there that do this automatically, but a lot of those softwares can either be too expensive, or they might not be as customizable as if you were to create that merging yourself, right? So we're basically trying to educate people on how to merge different data streams. One of the most important aspects when it comes to merging data is to understand how to switch your data from snapshots into time series. And what I mean by that is, let's say you want your last 30 days business report by SKU. So you go to Amazon, you go to business reports, you set your time ranges, and then you get a snapshot. Now, is that snapshot going to stand the test of time? Data is changing all the time, right? So whatever you have today is no longer true tomorrow, and it's going to be moving all the time. So the only way to kind of use these snapshots of data is to kind of stitch them together on a time series, basically on dates, right? So you want to stitch them together in a way that all of these data pieces have a date column attached to them, so that you can draw graphs now, you can do predictions and stuff like that. And what's even more fun than that, is when you combine disparate types of data, but they share one thing in common, which is date. So if you can kind of merge different data sources and they all share a common date range, then you can plot all kinds of things. Like, let's say you were to compare your advertising performance to the changes in buy box over time, and you can only do that when you've got everything in one place, and also everything is following the time series format. So that's basically what we're kind of helping people understand, that it isn't that hard to bring everything together. It just requires a little bit of mastering, and just a little bit of understanding of how all these pieces work together.
Wow. The way your mind works, it literally it makes me dizzy because you're just so stinking smart, Ritu. And I know I tell you this every time I see you in person. It's like I know I'm a giant, but whenever I walk into a room where you're speaking or you're sharing your strategies about data analyzing and your PPC stuff, it makes me feel tiny. And you actually are tiny, right? But they always say dynamite comes in small packages. You are the real deal, Ritu. I want you to talk a little bit about key strategies that Amazon sellers should be considering. So, as a seller, what key strategies should I consider to maximize my return on investment on the platform? And more specifically, how can PPC Ninja, your baby, help me facilitate these strategies?
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about some of the basics of Amazon advertising that a lot of people overlook. So the number one thing that I've noticed is that people try to focus on sponsored product keyword based ads a lot, like disproportionately more than any other ad type. And this is something I've seen over and over again, because we get to audit a lot of accounts, and then we kind of look at their ad coverage, and we see 95% of their ads are sponsored product keyword targeting, maybe a small percentage of, let's say, auto campaigns, and then all the other ad types are basically neglected. So that's probably the biggest mistake that sellers are making. Why? Because, and it's a little counterintuitive, because people think that, oh, let me first master my keyword ranking, and then all the other ad types will start to help me, because the only thing that helps to rank keywords is sponsored product. I would say that's not correct. Every ad type does contribute to kind of growing your relevancy for different keywords, as well as being relevant for suggestions, because Amazon also suggests your products to others when they noticed some sort of pattern of sales across different products, right? So once you established relevancy through product targeting ads, through category targeting ads, then it kind of assists your main keyword ranking goals as well. So remember to kind of spread out and start doing other ad types as well. That's very important. The other thing is, when it comes to creating, let's say, headline ads like video ads or sponsored brand headline ads, people don't pay a lot of attention to the images that they use in uh, their creative. So just to give you some examples, a lot of people use images where the actual product is so tiny that no one can tell what it is. There's beautiful lifestyle setup there. Let's say if you're selling, let's say you're selling an iPhone case or whatever. Let's say now this iPhone case is sitting amongst let's say different objects in that space, and you're trying to focus on the human and something else that's lying on there's a lot of clutter and things like that. So the main focus, the iPhone case, and why it's so amazing is lost. So this one, this is something that I see over and over again, and we've been doing some experiments with trying to zoom in, basically not have long shots, have very close up shots on the product itself. The product is your hero. Like that has to be glorified. It has to be larger than life. It has to be, the angles you use for showcasing your product have to be such that it flatters the product, and not let it kind of slip into the background, right? You don't want it to be kind of just merging into the background. So we've done some tests, and what happens is that every single time we kind of zoom in, we start to see amazing click-through rate. And the click-through rate is because your shoppers are looking for the product, then they see the product, and then they click on it. Whereas when they type whatever they want, and they see just like a fuzzy room or some sort of lifestyle photo that's just too much of a long shot, they're not going to click, right? So your click-through rates depend on the image that you use for sponsored brand headline ads. The second thing that people look for is the match between what they've typed in and what you're saying in your message in your sponsored brand headline ad. So your message has to be closely tied to the keywords that you're anticipating from shoppers. Now that's a lot of work because there's so many keywords, right? There's just so many keywords, and being able to create as many sponsored brand headline ads is a lot. It's a lot of work, right? And that's why a majority of people don't go there. They're like, this is too much work, or we don't have the team for it, and so they miss out on the opportunity. Enter ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an amazing way of generating headlines for specific groups of keywords that are very similar. So we've been using this uh, SOP where we basically say, okay, I have these 500 keywords. ChatGPT, can you organize this into groupings of keywords that are very, very similar? So you do that, and it generates like group one, group two, group three, and then you put an additional kind of question there. Can you create a headline within 50 characters that I can use for my sponsored brand headline? So, and one more thing to say there is to make sure that ChatGPT includes the keyword or the grouping within the headline itself, right? So you've got to have that very close match between what people are typing and what they're seeing. Headline is too broad, or it's just talking about something dreamy, or something like a marketing message, build a beautiful life or something vague like that, it's not going to convert, or it may not convert as well as if you type iPhone case, and then your thing also says iPhone case for iPhone version blah blah blah, whatever. So if it's like a close match, then the chances of a higher click-through rate and a higher conversion rate are very, very high, right? So you want to make sure that you do those things very meticulously. And then one more point I'd like to say about sponsored brand video ads. There's a new type of video ad that you can showcase at the very top of the search results page. Now, the only way to unlock, and this is the secret, the only way to unlock that top placement is to make sure that your video ad is sending traffic to a store page and not to the product detail page. So with that, you have a very high chance of showing up at the top, and it actually gives you the highest um, real estate on the page. It's probably the only ad that takes up so much room the visual takes up so much room that you're literally going to see 2x, 3x, 4x click-through rates and high conversion rates for that placement, right? And it's really, really working well for us. Now, there's so many different things you can do with your PPC, but the way our software helps is by using what we call the data sufficiency model for bid optimization. And our software is really good with understanding, what your conversion rates have been in the recent past, and when there is enough data per keyword to take an action, such as a bid change up or down, then our software kind of just calculates the right bid and then suggests it to you. So all of this happens like automatically, and you can even set it up so that it automatically accepts bids every day. And it just helps you to kind of manage your bids. Yeah, exactly. It's the data sufficiency model, guys. Read up about it. There's a lot of articles, even on our blog, that talk about what the data sufficiency model is. It's way better than a time-based look back window, which tends to be inaccurate. So those were some of the kind of tips around PPC, but I can elaborate on any one of them if
there's something that I want to know though, Ritu, for what you're doing with PPC Ninja. Who is the perfect client for you, and why?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so on the software side, agencies, consultants, and anyone who understands the basics of PPC is the ideal client for us. So if you are like a absolutely new seller, yes, our software will be able to help you a lot. Like it can help you as a alternative to using, Amazon Seller Central, because our software helps you do bulk operations very fast. Like you can literally set filters and change things very, very fast. You don't have to download any reports. You don't have to upload them back. So it's all done within the software. It really saves a lot of time. However, it does require you to understand some basics of PPC. It's not like one of those set it and forget it kind of softwares, which is where it's different. You need to understand what you're doing, and then it can do amazing things. So if you're prepared to invest, and I think everybody should be, right? If you aren't prepared to invest in your understanding of PPC, then you're basically flying blind. So I would say definitely, invest in understanding all the basics of PPC, especially the idea of a full funnel, right? The full funnel strategy of advertising, not just sponsored product, keyword based. Everything, you need to have every ad type there. And then when you use our software and layer that on top of this basic understanding, then it's going to be magic, right? So, but to answer your question, Sean, the majority of our users are people who are either agencies who are managing other clients, or they're like consultants just trying to help one or two clients. And then it's also brands that have internal teams like PPC teams and such, who use our software to kind of maximize their ROI based on our data sufficiency model.
Yeah, this is amazing, Ritu. So do you have any special offer or anything for our audience to check out PPC Ninja?
Yes, absolutely. So, we're happy. So we have a 14-day free trial. We're happy to extend that to 30 days for your audience. So all they need to do is, just write PPP in the subject line and just send us an email, support@ppcninja.com, and we'll be happy to extend your free trial.
Well, we really
Nice.
appreciate
I just spoke to e-commerce Chris is texting me over here. I said, leave me alone. I'm interviewing Ritu. He's boarding a flight for Miami. He says, oh, I go way back with Ritu. I got a lot of love for her. So he sends his love.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, Chris and Leah are really amazing. Like I remember we've had so many kind of we've had a lot of good time with both Chris and Leah, and they're amazing. They help a lot of our sellers as well.
Well, he sends his love and says hello. So at ppcninja.com/free-tool, you see it on your screen. If you're listening to the audio version of this, it's www.ppcninja.com/free-tool, and that will get you this this offer that Ritu's talking about specifically for our listeners. So Ritu, I know you're a smart person. I always want to remind you of that, but I want to ask you, I know you've read a lot of books. What is your all-time favorite business book that you would recommend?
I have it right here. It's called The Goal. I
The
just love it.
Gold?
The Goal by Ellie Goldratt. Um, it's a
Gold is in like a soccer goal, or gold is
yeah,
in precious metal?
no, the soccer goal.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not in my studio today, so I'm like, I'm really at a handicap here. Tell us about the goal.
Yeah, so the goal is basically, a book about bottlenecks. It is a book that tells you why organizations fail when there's many moving parts, and one part of the organization is either too free or too busy. And so there's bottlenecks that are created throughout the organization, and our goal as business owners and operators is to find all those bottlenecks and move them. So just to give you an example, let's say you have a team that is doing campaign creation, for example, or something like that. Let's say they're creating campaigns. What do they need as an input? How timely can that input be for the purpose of campaign creation? Like, let's say someone has to do keyword research before campaign creation can happen, right? And unless keyword research is completed, campaign creation can't start unless campaign creation meets the start date of your product launch. You can't create campaigns. So there's a lot of dependencies. It's almost like imagining what comes after what can be done in parallel. How can we reduce the load on certain kind of highly used resources? Let's say you just have one person doing all the keyword research. Can they churn out everything for like a thousand products all at once? So if they become bottlenecks, you either need to increase the number of people doing that role, or you need to rearrange your workflow so that things hit them in a staggered way. And so it's all about understanding, how things flow through an organization, how work flows, and it's all about like inputs and throughputs and stuff like that. So I really like it because it helps me manage our organization better, more efficiently. And I think that same thinking has kind of stayed with me this whole time. I
Yeah.
read the book about 20 years ago, and I'm reading it again right now. So it's really fun. I would highly recommend it. Yeah.
I really appreciate the recommendation. It's not very often that we find a book that I haven't read or at least heard of. So this is exciting for me that I haven't even been exposed to this. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, Ritu, we have one more fun question here. Over the last year or so, maybe you purchased something in your life that some consider a splurge, but you don't regret spending the money on. So for our last guest, that was a special type of car. But for others, it might have been, this awesome headset that they could, listen to music or join a call on. So it doesn't matter at what level it is. It just matters that you don't regret spending the money on. Anything come to mind?
Perfume.
Perfume. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, it's so
Special perfume.
expensive, but I don't mind because I just love the fragrance. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, this is amazing. So for me, I would have answered a few years ago. I bought this amazing ping pong table, and we just had so much fun playing with friends, and it was just kind of a weird thing that turned out to be a lot more fun than what I thought it was going to be. So great
Whoa.
answer, Ritu. So as we wrap up the show here, is there any place else that people should go find out more about you or dig into what you have going on?
Yeah, so I am pretty active on LinkedIn, so they can just look up my full name, Ritu Java. And then we also have a blog, so ppcninja.com/blog. We write a lot of articles there about PPC,
Okay.
about data and stuff like that. Earlier you had mentioned, the link to get our freebie. If they want, they can just send us an email, support@ppcninja.com, because that's probably going to be more, it's going to be faster, right? If you just send us that email, support@ppcninja.com
Yeah.
with PPP in the subject line, and we'll extend it for you.
All right, perfect. So, Ritu, we really, really appreciate you coming on as a guest today. We'd love to have you back in the future to dig into that wonderful mind of yours. So, we appreciate all the knowledge that you've shared today, and looking forward to doing it again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll talk soon.